What is the fastest way you have seen someone ruin their life? 15 to 20 years ago, an ex worked at a dream job type of place. If you make it professionally in that field, this employer is the absolute peak. There is no better place to go. New guy started there, on ex's team, right out of university. His first day he went to the company store and got all the gear with company's name on it, t-shirt, hat, socks, etc., and proudly put it all on. After work, team took the new guy out to drinks to celebrate his first day at dream job employer. New guy gets way too drunk, goes outside to smoke a cig, and then takes his penis out and presses it up against the bar's glass window. Penis man's new colleagues, all the bar's patrons, and all their staff see his dick. Ex closed out their tab and got drunk guy home. The bar calls the employer the next morning, complaining about the new guy's dick antics, banning him and anyone wearing company gear. New guy was fired before lunch, on day 2. A cautionary story. My father-in-law is 65. Was married to his wife for 37 years and has 3 daughters. The picture-perfect family from the outside looking in. He was well respected in his career field and was also an interim pastor/deacon at our local church. After he retired, his health started to deteriorate drastically and he started drinking. This past November we learned that he had fell for a love scam on Facebook and had spent his entire life savings, took out a second mortgage on his home, and opened up numerous credit cards to send this fake person money. All in all, he sent them roughly $300,000. He was truly convinced she was going to move here from overseas and they were going to ride off into the sunset, leave everything behind, and live happily ever after. Now he is divorced, lives in a crummy apartment about 45 minutes from his family, and is miserable. He can barely walk and has essentially zero control over his bowel movements. To make matters worse, he has very narcissistic tendencies and thinks that none of it is his fault, and instead blames his ex-wife, claiming that she didn't love him and show him any affection. As you can imagine, this has affected my wife, her sisters, and mother immensely, and caused all sorts of problems and stress over the last 8 months. But long story short, he lost everything. His assets, his family, his health, and happiness. I would be shocked if he's even alive a year from now. I wound up having to change the number for my first real cell phone, because the previous owner of that number still kept giving it out. Apparently she had just moved, and her old job couldn't get a hold of her to send her last check. Her new job couldn't get a hold of her to get her schedule. Her vet couldn't get her to pick up her cat. I got calls from her leasing company who needed documentation to secure her apartment. Every single day was some new way an idiot was fucking up her finances, her housing, her job, her pets, her social life. All because she couldn't remember her new phone number. After a month I finally got fed up and had the number changed. Melissa, if you were supposed to be a massage therapist for the PGA Tour in 2013, I hope you eventually got your shit together. A guy I worked with at Papa John's when I was in college bought a gun from a coworker. Our other coworker got robbed delivering a pizza. He told me he wants to see if it works. He went and shot it into an empty developing neighborhood into some trees. The bullets hit a house behind the trees with a family and kids. Nobody was hurt, but they were scared to death. Police immediately came and arrested him before he could even pull off. They were camping out in that neighborhood already since people were coming at night to smoke weed, have sex and shoot guns SMH. He shot 3 shots. Got 25 years in prison for attempted murder and reckless endangerment. First time ever shooting a gun. We were only 19. This was in 2006. I think about him a lot. We weren't close like that. But he's still in prison over a 5 seconds mistake 17 years later. Really nerdy kid too. First time ever in trouble. I follow his sister on Facebook. He's unrecognizable now. Imagine McLovin from Superbad who looks like Jason Momoa now with tats on his face. Sad. Also, my roommate a few weeks later was struggling financially and decided to buy 2 pounds of weed to sell with his student loan refund check. Got pulled over and arrested the same day. Got 5 years. Can't make this shit up. My husband had a nice job as a high-level retail manager before his store closed. He became a lead for Les Dollar in an inventory company. He was generally considered to be a nice, but quiet. You'd see more of his personality when he was working on computers, self-taught, or video games or pool. General consensus was that he was a good guy, always ready to game with the kids. Less than a month after our 6th anniversary, I found a video on our tablet from a hidden camera in our bathroom that showed my 14-year-old niece nude. It looked like he kept the image on the cloud and would add it to whatever device he was using and then delete it. He just missed that last step. I called the police immediately and he never came home again. They found more images on his computer and a 20-minute video, full front view of his face, as he tries to hide the camera. He pleaded guilty and received 40 years with 36 suspended. He will have to register as a sex offender and has some pretty stiff rules to follow: no alcohol, no items that can connect to the internet unless he pays for a company to put monitoring software on every internet accessible device. The day I found it, I sent him to work with a kiss. I found the images around 11:30 am and had surrendered the tablet and gotten the case started with the police by 11:45. I have told every relationship I've been in, husband included, that the one thing that will make me turn you in and walk away and never look back. He truly thought I would never leave him and was all surprised Pikachu face when I kept my promise. His actions caused him to lose everything he took for granted that he would always. Our daughter was 5 then, and for her he just disappeared one day. Now, I am watching her grow and mature into a beautiful person, and he doesn't get the privilege of even knowing this beautiful child. I'm sure that separation has hurt him a lot, but you don't get trusted with any child, even your own, after you do something like that. Good riddance. Sir Glenn, a friend of mine, a medic, was mistakenly left behind in East Africa. They didn't find him for months and months, a war going all around. He was a mental chocolate mess by that time. They flew him home to U.S. Got him into rehab programs. He had all his back pay due, so he bought a Triumph Spitfire and hit the pedal to the metal. He called me a few days later to come see his new car. It's in the shop, he said. Already? I asked. He told me to drive down some road and he'd show me. Where? I don't see it, I said. He just pointed up at a huge big around pine tree. As my eyes accustomed to the sun, there, 25, 35 feet up in the air, was a big chunk of bark missing from the tree. See I now? He asked. He said he hit a low spot in the road, and as the race car pulled itself up, the car smashed into the giant tree, like maybe 20 feet off the ground, fell flat and hard, and the insurance totaled it out. He swore off drinking for a while, but, you know how some people just can't put things on the top shelf, so to speak. Jeff, if you're still on Earth, you were one of the best friends I ever had.